Hey everyone, welcome back to Design, Create, Inspire. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time, hello, my name's Bryn Young. I'm an architect and I am not a tech guru. Let's just start this off saying that. Today I want to do a little side-by-side comparison between my old MacBook Pro and my new one. But I want to start this video off by saying if you are looking for all the tech specs and all the awesome, latest processor information, this isn't the video for you. There's tons of really awesome videos out there with people who know exactly what they're talking about. So you might want to go check out those people. But what I want to talk to you about today is how I use my MacBook Pro as an architect, as a designer, and whether I recommend it for other architects, or maybe you're a student and you're interested in getting a MacBook. They're super sexy and they have incredible marketing. So of course, all of us want to get that MacBook. So I'm going to let you know whether I think that's the right option for you. And then I'm also just going to talk about the differences between this one a little bit and my old one. It's going to be, I'm not going to, again, go as much into like the deep processes and all that good stuff, but just kind of a generalized overview. It's something that I would have loved to see when I was deciding whether I wanted to get the new MacBook or not. So I'm going to let you know maybe some of those pros and cons. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, stay tuned. Okay, so first off, just side by side, this is my old MacBook Pro that I bought in January of 2015. This is my new MacBook Pro that I bought just a month ago or so. This is the 2021 version. So first off, I want to say that my MacBook Pro has served me amazingly. I bought it in January 2015. I was in grad school, so I was in architecture. Everybody said to get a PC. I am just such an Apple person. I did not want to get the PC. I ended up getting the Mac. I was running parallels on it so that I could work on Revit while I was at school. And then at home, we actually built a PC, a pretty awesome dual monitor, whole PC computer system. Again, I've been like a diehard Apple Mac user for a long, long time. So even switching over to the PC was, a little daunting, not daunting, just not desired. But I really felt like I needed that in order to work on a lot of the software that architecture needs, like Revit, AutoCAD, all that good stuff. So I would use the parallel side or boot camp, which used to come in the older model. And then I would also use the regular Mac side for all of my Adobe work. So I work in Adobe Suite every single day. I am in InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere Pro every single day. And so for me, having that all on my Mac has been ideal. I definitely like the workforce of the Mac. I love the portability of the computer, all that good stuff. So anyways, it has been holding up phenomenally. Like, honestly, I really haven't had much issues, even though it's 7 years old, which in laptop world is pretty long. But it was starting to have some deficiencies that I could tell just weren't up to par with the new computers that are being offered. It was running out of battery so quick. There was many times I was on like a Zoom call with a client or and all of a sudden it would unexpectedly go out of battery. Not ideal. It also, it wasn't too bad with lagging or anything. Like, it held up pretty well, but I would never do any of my editing in Premiere Pro on my laptop. I would always go over to my PC to do all my Premiere Pro editing. It just couldn't really hold the data. It was just like too clunky, too slow. It would crash. I could do my InDesign and whatnot over there, but not my Premiere Pro. So if you are an editor, you do video, all that good stuff, this new MacBook Pro you will be very excited about. So I'll go into it a little bit too. But so the other thing is even just like the audio and the camera on my old Mac, it was just starting to feel really dated. So like, you know, even when I'm doing Zoom calls or I do interviews where I record the interviews for YouTube and for the podcast, and it just was lacking. And instead of doing my whole system that you're watching on right now, I prefer to do my webcam for my interviews so that I'm looking directly at the people that I'm talking to, so it's more interactive, not like, you know, because right now my computer is over here, so if I'm looking at them and talking to them, then you're only getting half my face. So there was just certain things that were pushing me to getting a new computer. So with the new MacBook Pro and all the really incredible features, the M1 processor, all this, you know, color and all this stuff that was coming out, I realized that it was time. After 7 years, I'm on this thing every freaking day, like 8 hours plus a day. It was time. So I'm just going to give you like a little bit of specs. Again, super not technical. But in terms of, you know, as a designer, what the color display is like, what the audio and the camera is like, because those are the kind of important things as a designer again, and how I can use it. And then also the processor, like now I can go on Premiere Pro and this MacBook Pro is insane. It was even rendering it live at half the quality, which I usually always work in quarter, and it was rendering it live half the quality. It exported insanely quick, way quicker than my PC, which we have a pretty big like work beast here. So I'm really happy with that. I love that I can pick it up. I love to work outside, so I can now go edit videos outside. I don't have to be in the office. So that's been huge. In terms of resolution, my old Mac was 2880 by 1800 and had 220 pixels per inch. Now the new MacBook Pro is 3456 by 2234. So it's quite a bit bigger, native resolution, and it has 254 pixels per inch. So the color display is pretty incredible. It's really beautiful. The blacks are really black. The resolution is just super clear and lovely. In terms of color, this is kind of silly to me because, I mean, the color is amazing, but in terms of like the tech specs, the old one said it was millions of colors, and then the new one says it's 1 billion colors. So obviously that's a lot, but it's like, okay, well, let's just, I mean, at what point's what, like, too much? I don't know. That's not as much like what I would think is, I would think the resolution's more important, but. And then in terms of the battery, this was a huge one for me because again, like I want to be outside. I literally would like hook up an extension cord to hook up my battery to hook up, you know, all that. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, you know, are you, you know, is it, might as well just be at a computer. So the battery, my old one had up to 8 hours of wireless web. That sounds great, but it never really did that, and it took forever to charge. And also 7 years old, so it could have just like been worn out. The new one's up to 14 hours of wireless web battery. So I can be on that thing. It charges so freaking fast too. It charges and works forever. Like I never have this thing on the charger. I love it. It's so much more efficient. I don't have to have the charger following me around. I can go work where I want. I can be rendering. I can be on Premiere Pro and like working this thing hard, and it's still doing awesome, not having to be connected to a power source. I love that. The other thing is the camera. The old computer was a 720 FaceTime HD camera, but the new one's 1080p. So having it be 1080p is amazing. Like now I can almost, record videos from my laptop camera and have it be fairly decent for putting out on YouTube. I've noticed for my courses, when I'm doing my coaching, I can have a really great quality camera and audio straight from my camera. That for me is really important because of the way that I use the computer. The audio as well is a big difference. The old one is just the stereo speakers, dual microphones. The new one is a studio quality 3 mic array with high signal to noise ratio and directional beam forming. And then there's also the speakers on the side, or like the way you can see them is way better. So let's open these babies up and look at them a little bit. So like you can even see the size of the speakers here, Let's talk a little bit about size. This is the 16 inch. This is the 15 inch. They are really similar in size. So the dimensions are honestly like almost exact. This one is even a little bit bigger, but this one is a little bit thicker. So this one, the old 2015 is 9.73 inches in height, and this one's 9.77. The other thing too is the weight. So you can see that height difference a little bit here, but in terms of size, they're like pretty much the exact same. One thing that I felt when I first got it was, this is my old one. I felt like this one, I was used to it being pretty light. And then when the new one came in, I was like, oh dang, that's a beast. Like it feels way heavier. Technically it's the old one's 4.46 pounds and this one's 4.7. So that's that's under 0.3 pounds. But again, like if you are with such low numbers anyways, that is, that's a fairly decent number. I don't know. It's enough to kind of be able to tell. Again, I'm carrying it around to go sit out in the garden and work. I'm sitting on the couch and working. I'm working from the kitchen table. I'm working around. I'm not necessarily like traveling with it. So if I'm traveling a lot, or if you're traveling a lot with that 0.3 pounds could be a little bit more significant. However, I would say, I'd kind of argue that you kind of get used to those sort of things. And if you're traveling, the battery power is way more worth it. So in terms of architecture, there's a couple things. One, I love the fact that you could take this on site and to a construction site and not feel like you're going to run out of battery. You could take it, you could walk around a model, you could show your renderings, you could do all that good stuff. The only thing though that I'm going to say is Macs just aren't there quite yet for being the only computer needed for an architecture firm. So I am a little bit less in the model world these days just because of how I run my firm. I work more in Adobe Suite and sketching and on my Apple, what do you call it? On my tablet, my Mac, on my iPad. Couldn't remember the name of it for the life of me. Okay, I work much more on my iPad and in Adobe Suite and on my computer. If I'm ever working in Revit, I go work on the PC. So that's really the only times I'm getting on my PC is to work in Revit. So if you are a student and you are looking to buy a computer for school, the MacBook just isn't quite there yet. You have to have a PC to run the software systems that you need, like Rhino and Revit and all that stuff. I believe at least back in the day you could run a Rhino version on the Mac, but again, it just wasn't the same. I do recommend, which is like, I feel like I never recommend a PC, but if you have to choose one or the other, you need a PC really to run Revit and do awesome work through school. It's also a luxury to have a Mac laptop and a PC desktop. I'm very aware of, that privilege to have both of those. And I'm so, blessed to have that. My husband works from our PC too, so it's helpful. Like, I don't just have this PC sitting here all the time not being worked on because it's only for Revit. It's also used for my husband's work, so that's good. If I had to choose at this point, I feel like it would be really hard for me to only choose a PC based on how I use it now. I love Adobe Suite on the Mac interface. I love the whole system. It works incredibly well for how I use it. So if you are, say, a graphic designer, or you do video, or you do YouTube or anything like that, I highly, highly recommend the new MacBook Pro. It's amazing. I guess I probably should have said too, none of this is sponsored or endorsed or anything like that. I'm not that big yet. I can't get endorsed by Apple, but hi Apple, if you want to endorse me. So I definitely recommend it. It's incredible. What I love too is the fact that my last MacBook Pro lasted 7 years. It's still in great working conditions. I can probably sell it and, get some income from it. And, I love it. So that is my whole take on whether this is the right computer for you if you're in architecture. It's my take on the pros and cons of the new thing. I didn't really go over like design wise. You can see here, it's real clean. I do like how clean it is. I have the space gray versus the silver. The whole back of the keyboard is black, which just makes like a really clean layout. The trackpad is significantly bigger, which it's interesting because I really am just so used to using it like this that I don't think I've even utilized as it for its full potential. But what it's cool for is if you're using different windows, you do have space now to really drag stuff over. The other really amazing feature is the touch button to unlock. That is really nice and streamlined, super easy and convenient. And yeah, it's fast, it's clean. I really do enjoy it. I like that it's physically not bigger rather than just a little bit of depth, but the screen size is significantly bigger. So I love it. Check it out. I'm not usually like a tech reviewer type person, so I'm not sure if you found value in this type of video. If you did, let me know. I'm interested to hear because again, it's a new concept, but I did want to share, especially from designer point of view, working with the different computers, what we use is really important. So that is my take. If you have the option to have a PC for your Revit and your modeling, and then you can get this bad boy for all of your other needs, I do highly recommend it. I didn't mention either, I have the in-between. I don't have the highest model, I don't have the lowest model, I have the in-between one. It's the 1 terabyte storage, which makes me happy too because these videos get really big, and so I need a lot of storage. And if you have any questions or if I missed something that's important, let me know in the comments and I will get back to you. I read everything and I respond to it all, so let me know. All right, all have a wonderful day and I will talk to you soon. Bye.